your mouth and say something you didn't want to say.
Greetings from South Africa. I know it looks a lot like Southern California behind me, but you gotta believe me, there's a bunch of wildebeests and rhinoceros and lions and stuff just a few hundred yards right over that way. But they wouldn't let us shoot the video there. They said it was too dangerous. But anyways, we're here with Honda's new Africa Twin. We've all been kind of anticipating this bike for a while, and we've finally gotten a chance to ride it, and Honda gave us 2 days in which to do so. So the first day was spent on the street, the second day was out in the dirt. They outfitted it with knobby tires. We had a really good time. So the bike in general, we know this standard model right here with the regular shifting is about $13,000, and it's only $700 more for the DCT model. We'll get a little bit more on that later. So the bike itself, it comes outfitted with ABS, which is switchable. You can turn it off to the rear wheel, and it has 3 levels of traction control and an off. Now, the good thing about this is it's very easy to manipulate if you want traction control 1, 2, or 3, or if you just want to turn it off by a little trigger switch up here on the left handlebar. The ABS is a button up on the right side of the fairing, and again, you just push that in, hold it, and it turns off to the rear wheel, keeps it on the front. ABS, you do have to be stopped to turn that off. You know, for us, you know, we're stopping, we're doing photo shoots and starting again, and one thing we found out is that when you turn the bike off, you know, even if you just do with the kill switch, it will maintain the ABS being off to the rear wheel, but it will, you know, reset the traction control. So you have to go back in, and if you had it off, turn it off, or if you had it at level, you know, 2, 3, whatever. So that's something, you know, to keep in mind for someone that might purchase the bike. The handling manners, the power, the performance, you know, Honda did a pretty good job. It felt pretty spot on in both street and off-road sections. The suspension, you know, we didn't really have time to fiddle much with the suspension. You've got rebound and compression on the front, and you've got rebound, compression, and preload on the rear. I think in the standard settings that they had it in for both days were nice. Maybe a little soft, especially on the front, you know, could dial up some compression there. We'll know some more when we get a test unit in our offices back in Southern California, and we can do, you know, some longer term testing with this bike. But you know, it's got the new parallel twin engine in it, whereas the original one had a V-twin engine. You know, engine performance, you know, parallel twins aren't always the most popular engine configuration, but it actually worked pretty good here. The power was linear throughout the rev range. There was not really any peaks and valleys. You know, I was really happy with the performances in pretty much, you know, any situation. They did go with a cable throttle on this bike, which is a little bit surprising because it's a brand new model, and it was an opportunity for Honda to bring a ride-by-wire, because without the ride-by-wire, what this bike does not have is cruise control. And I think, you know, once we get out and we start testing this against other bikes of the same ilk, you know, that's going to be a detriment to Honda. But, you know, c'est la vie, that's how it is. Now, they do offer the technology, their dual clutch transmission, which on the other bike, as far as I go, personally, I'm convinced it's a winner. I really liked it. This is Gen 2 of Honda's DCT. The first gen came out on the VFR 1200. Yeah, in America, I think it was, you know, a little bit hit and miss. But this newer version on this bike, especially being on an off-road bike, is very kind of like up in the air as far as how it's going to function and perform. And for especially a rider of, you know, say novice abilities, or even up to, you know, middle of the road, I think they're going to be really happy with it, because you can put it in an automatic mode or you can put it in a manual shift mode. Even in automatic, you can override what selection is just by the shifters over here on the left handlebar. And so if you have it in auto and you're either, you know, on the street or in the dirt, and you feel that it's maybe a gear up too high or a gear down too low, it's just easy. You reach over, you switch it with your thumb or your index finger, and bam, you pick the gear that you want. Now, what's interesting is they do have an accessory gear shifter that you can put on for your foot. And I tried that as well, and I mean, I think some guys might like that, but you know, if you're comfortable and you get used to using the trigger switch up on the handlebar, you're really not going to want that foot switch. You know, off-road, you might think it was a question about like down when you're going slow and you're trying to like get into a situation where you're going to want to feather the clutch. How does it work there? And again, it did really good. You know, we're doing a lot of U-turns with our, you know, photo shoots, and you know, there was a minor rocky section that we had that was, you know, kind of slow going if you wanted. And again, you know, the DCT did really well. There was no herky-jerky motion. There was nothing throwing me off balance. I was really happy with it. I think the maybe hardcore guys out there, they probably would still prefer to go with this manual clutch, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe for the guy, not even the novice, but maybe the guy that wants to go on a, you know, more kind of adventure touring thing, you can put it in automatic when you're tired and just let the bike do the work, and then if you want to be more aggressive, you put it back in manual, and then you can have the fun of shifting. And I think it's only a $700 price increase, so man, it's not really a big chunk of money to bite off as far as, you know, stepping up to that model. You know, Honda did some stuff as far as the cockpit area. They're telling us about the neutral air zone behind the fairing, and wow, yeah, it's so neutral. We were riding the other day and it rained pretty good, and the rain on my visor wasn't even, you know, being wicked off. It's just there is not much airflow behind there, so it's really nice. Honda tells me that these models, both of them, will be available late May, early June. And boy, I'd say, you know, get down to your Honda dealer, check one out. Hopefully maybe you could take one for a test ride, especially try the DCT, give it a chance. I think you might be surprised.
I don't want no one to forget you.